Hello everybody, welcome to this instruction video. In this video I'd like to show you how to make my summer flower mandalas. This is my own design, and in this video I'll show you how to make this pattern row by row. Let's just first look at what you need to make these mandalas. Before we start, I would just like to show you the three colorways that I have for these mandalas. This is the poppy colorway, and if you say colorway in nice bright red colors, so really going towards a poppy flower. I also have a passion flower colorway, which is more of a pastel colorway with pinks and blues, so this really resembles a passion flower in very much classic colors. And then I have the violet colorway, which is indeed a violet flower with a blue and purple colorway and a little bit of pink, yellow, purple, so mandalas in different color combinations. I'll be making one of the poppy mandalas for this video, but you could of course make any one of these in any combination. To make the mandalas you need scheepjes katona yarn in different colors. This here is the violet colorway. I also have the poppy and the passion flower colorway, and the exact color numbers are in the written pattern. It comes down to having 3 colors and a neutral. These kits, as well as the other 2 kits, are also available in my shop. The link is in the video description. And along with the yarn you also need hoops. You will need 3 20cm diameter mandala rings, and these rings are really great for just bringing the final shape to the mandala and being able to hang them on the wall. And also the kits include these 3 rings. Now, in addition to the rings and the yarn, you also need a hook. I'll be using a 3mm crochet hook. So these kits are available in my shop, and I'll take you step by step through the process of making them mandalas. For round 1, I'm going to start with a slip knot on my hook, then chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and close to the first stitch with a slip stitch. Chain 2. This does not count as a stitch. And now in the ring, just open that up, I'm going to work 12 double crochets. So yarn over, and then in the little hole, 12 doubles. That's 1, 2, continue until you have 12. 3, 12, 12 double crochets. I'm going to cut my yarn, open up this loop, and we're going to close this round with an invisible join. That means thread the yarn on a needle. I prefer to do this with a needle. If you look at your work, here's the chain 2. No, don't worry about that. Here's your first stitch. See, there's the first stitch. Then come to the second stitch. Insert the needle underneath. Pull through. Then it'll start to close that loop. And then come to the last stitch worked and insert that from top to bottom. If you look at it from the back, insert your hook and your needle through there, and I'm actually just going to go a little bit to the side. Then pull through, and then just fashion this. It is still a little small, but fashion it. There we go. And that is all the same size as your other stitches. Then work away at this yarn tail, and then we're ready for round 2. For round 2, we slip knots on my hook, and then we're going to work 2 double crochets in every stitch. Now it doesn't matter where you start. We're going to start with a standing double. So yarn over, hold on to the loop, and then come to any stitch. That's one. That's one. And then work another double crochet in the same stitch. Then come to the next stitch and work 2 double crochets in there. So 1 and 2. And repeat this all the way around. So that's 2 double crochets in every stitch. So repeat this, go all the way around, and when you're to the beginning, going to close with an invisible join. Make a jump in the video. When I'm here, I'll just see you for the join. You're all the way around. This is the point where you're currently at. Then cut your yarn again. Open up the loop. Thread yarn on your needle. And then close with an invisible join. So again, here's the first stitch. I'm going to come to the second stitch. And then come to the last stitch work. That's going to be this one here. Insert your hook, your needle from top to bottom through that stitch. And then just pull that tight. And then you're going to create a new top of the stitch over the standing stitch. There you go. And again, work away this yarn tail, and here at the back you'll have this knot here. Just going to unpick that knot, and that'll also just make this stitch neater. So this unpicking does require a bit of patience, which is of course difficult in front of the camera. There we go, and there's the knot. So just I'm unpicking that knot, and then allowing that. I just need one more loop. There you go, and then I pull that tight, and then you see this entire stitch, well, the standing part is now gone. And now I'm going to work away both of these yarn tails here to the back. And then that's round 2. For round 3, I'm going to work a round of slip stitches, surface slip stitches here over the stitches of round 1. So that means everywhere where you have the 2 double crochets worked into one stitch, you're going to work slip stitches into there. Now it doesn't matter where you start. I'm just going to start here. Insert your hook, yarn, grab it from the back and bring to the front. And now we're going to work slip stitches. So come to the next stitch, insert your hook and work a slip stitch. And this we're going to do all the way around. That means you're going to have, well, you're actually going to work 11 complete slip stitches, and then number 12 we'll again do with an invisible join system. So, and don't work these slip stitches too tight, because you'll notice that they too tend to be just a little tight or tighter than the rest of your stitches. So give these stitches just a little bit of room, maybe work them just slightly less tight than you would normally. So you see I'm going all the way around, almost there. And that's the second last stitch. There we go. And then the last stitch, you see I've got one position left. I'm going to work that with an invisible join. So I'm just again going to cut my yarn, then open up this loop, thread yarn on the needle, and now it's again the same system as before. Here's the first stitch worked. Come underneath both of these little loops from the V, pull through, and then come to the last stitch worked and push your needle through. Just in this case, just push it through to the back. There you go. And there you'll see this is the slip stitch. This is the stitch you just worked. Then here to the back, I'm just going to be honestly very practical and just knot these two threads together, and now I'm going to work them away. I just find this just secures my yarn tails a bit better. And that's the end of round 3. For round 4, new color yarn on my hook, and we're going to work a back post single crochet on every stitch. So it doesn't matter where you start. I'm just going to start here, from the back, around the post of the stitch, grab your yarn, come back to where you started, and complete the single crochet. Next stitch again, and continue like this. Work a back post single crochet on every stitch all the way around. And these stitches are slow going, so take them one at a time. And when you get to the beginning, back post single crochets, and when you get to the beginning, close on your first stitch with a slip stitch and leave your yarn attached. But I'll just show you how to do that slip stitch when we get there. I'm almost all the way around. I have one stitch left. Just going to work a back post single crochet around that last stitch. There you go. And then close on your first stitch with a slip stitch. And if you just grab the beginning of your yarn tail, you see there's the slip knot, then just go to the left of that. Well, if you're right-handed, it'll be to the left. If you're left-handed, it'll be to the right. Just next to the knot, and complete the slip stitch. And now we're ready for round 5. Round 5. Now from the position where we're currently at, we're immediately going to start the repeat. We're going to be making flower petals in this round. Now each petal starts with a chain 4. So chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then over the next 2 stitches, see there, the next 2 stitches, work a treble 2 together. That means twice over for the treble, come to the next stitch, and pick up a loop. Then take off 2 loops, take off 2 loops, and stop. Come to the next stitch and do the same. So twice over, grab your yarn, take off 2 loops, take off 2 loops, and stop. Now you have 3 loops on your hook. Take them all off in one go. That was the treble 2 together. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and come down to the next stitch and work a slip stitch. And that is your first little flower petal. Going to do this all the way around. you'll have 8 petals then in total. So there was 1. I'll show you this repeat again, and then you can do 6 more without me. So again, chain 4, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. See, that brings you up. Then over the next 2 stitches, a treble 2 together. So these 2 stitches here. So twice over, and pick up a loop through the first stitch, take off 2, take off 2, stop. Then come to the next stitch and do the same. So twice over, pick up a loop, take off 2, take off 2, stop. 3 loops on your hook, take them all off in one go. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and come down to the next stitch and close with a slip stitch. And now you have 2 petals. Looks like Mickey Mouse ears. Going to go all the way around, then you'll have 8 petals. And your very last petal will finish here in the space where you already have a slip stitch. So this slip stitch here that you started the round with, you'll also finish there. So this stitch will have 2 slip stitches in it. And then you can also cut your yarn. So repeat all the way around, finish in the stitch where you also started, and cut your yarn. Round 6, I have a new color yarn on my hook. In this round we're going to work popcorns, and we're going to work them in the top of the flower petals. If you look here, you see here's a chain stitches. You've got the 2 together stitch and the chain. In the 2 together stitch, so if you open it up here, that's where we're going to be working in there. So we're going to start by making the first stitch is a standing popcorn. That means yarn on your hook, yarn over, hold on to that, and we're going to work 5 double crochets in this 2 together stitch. It doesn't matter which petal you start. I'm going to grab this one. So here's the 2 together stitch, insert your hook and complete your first double crochet. That's 1. I'm going to work 4 more, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We got 5 double crochets. I'm going to open up this loop, just hold on to it by placing it over your finger, and then come back to the first stitch you made and insert your hook in that very first stitch. Pick up the loop, close, and pull the first loop through this first stitch, so like that, and chain 1 to complete the popcorn. We're now going to work a chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just a note, you will now have worked 5 chain stitches in total, but remember the first chain belongs to the popcorn, and then 4 more chains because we're making a chain space. So don't forget the chain that belongs to the popcorn. So it's chain 1 plus chain 4. We're going to work a double treble, and we're going to work it over this slip stitch here into the stitches of round 4. So if I'm just going to open up, so in there. So if this is where you have the slip stitch between the flower petals, in that stitch there, you're going to work a slip stitch or the double treble over that slip stitch. So just grab your yarn again. So a double treble, that means once over is a double crochet, twice over is a treble crochet, and 3 times over is a double treble. So 3 times over, then insert your hook underneath that slip stitch, because you're going to be covering the slip stitch with this double treble. and now complete the double treble. So that's 1, and I'm going to hold onto these loops here at the top so that they don't open up too much. 1, 2, 3, and 4. A double treble. Chain 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then come to the next flower petal. We're going to work a popcorn on there, and again here in the 2 together stitch, so in there, going to work the popcorn. That means 5 double crochets in the 2 together stitch. That's going to be our starting point. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 double crochets, and open up this loop. Come back to the first stitch you worked, and that's the first stitch, so don't confuse it with the chains. Here's your first stitch, then pick up the loop, pull that closed, and pull your working loop through that first stitch, and chain 1 to complete the popcorn. And this popcorn is of course the same as that one. So this is the repeats. So the chain space, the double treble, the chain 4, and the popcorn. Repeat this all the way around. And when you're here at the end, I'm going to close on the popcorn with a slip stitch. I'll just show you up until the start of the next popcorn, and then I'll also show you the slip stitch join. So again, we just had the chain 1 for the popcorn, then 1, 2, 3, 4 for the chain space, 3 times yarn over because we're going to do a double treble. Then here's the next slip stitch. Go underneath that slip stitch because you want to cover it. Grab your yarn from the other side, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over. Chain 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and now you come to the top of the next flower petal for the next popcorn. Now just make the first double crochet, and that's the first double of the popcorn. Now you would again work 4 more and complete the popcorn. So I've now worked 2, almost, I've started here on this repeat, go all the way around. And here after this last chain 4, I'll just show you how to work the slip stitch, but it is just in that popcorn, but I'll show you how to do that. So go all the way around, then I'll see you at the end of the round. When you're all the way around, I've just worked the double treble, and there is the chain 4, and now close on the popcorn with a slip stitch. And that means here's the popcorn, and if you just pull that to the side, there's the slip stitch, then or the slip knot that was on your hook. Insert next to it, and then you can complete your slip stitch. And there we go. You can cut your yarn and fasten off. And what I actually like to do is I just like to make a knot here, because this is all very lacy, and in the next rounds it really doesn't matter. So I'm just going to work a knot there, because then it's also nice and secure. And that's the end of the round, and then next round we're going to be working in these chain spaces. Round 7, a slip knot on a new color yarn again. What we're going to do is in every chain 4 space, going to work 5 half double crochets. I'm going to yarn over because the first one's going to be a standing one. Hold on to that loop, and then in any chain space, really doesn't matter which one, grab your yarn and work a half double. That's 1. Work 4 more in this space. 2, 3, 4, and 5. There we go. So it's the standing one, plus 4 more, 5 in total. Then come to the next chain space and work 5 half doubles in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and there you go, 5. 5 half doubles. You might have to fashion it a little bit. 5 half doubles. Repeat all the way around. So come to the next space, and every time you're going to skip the trebles and the popcorns, only work in the chain spaces. So then come to the next one, and that's in the first of 5 again. Go all the way around. At the end of the round, close with the slip stitch. I'll show you how to do that, and then we'll also just look at gauge. At the end of the row 7, we're just going to close with a slip stitch. Here's the standing stitch again, just next to it. And with the half double, it can be kind of hard, but there's the loop. Close on there with a slip stitch. There we go. And close with a slip stitch. Cut your yarn and open up. That's the end of row 7, round 7. I'll just look at gauge with you. At the end of this round, your work should be roughly 11 centimeters. If you just go, so for example here between these two popcorns, it should be roughly from edge to edge 11 centimeters. If it's a little smaller, it's not a problem. If it's 12 centimeters, then you're most probably going to have trouble with the ring. So at the most 11 centimeters. If you do find that your work is already larger, there's going to be a few more rounds where you work half doubles. I would suggest replace round 7 with the half doubles with single crochets, and there's going to be a few more rounds where you also work half doubles. Also replace those rounds with single crochets, and that'll then just hopefully make your work small enough that it'll fit in the 20 centimeter ring. But at this point your gauge should be roughly 11 centimeters at the end of round 7. Round 8, I have a new color yarn on my hook, and we're going to start in the first half double that's here in the chain space. That's before the popcorn. Here's the popcorn, this chain space, then this first half double. Start in there with a standing half double. So again, yarn over, hold on to this, hold on to the loop, and in this first half double, insert your hook. There you go, and work a half double. That was the first. We're going to work 4 more. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There you go. So 5 half doubles here in total. We're now going to come to the popcorn and work a front post treble around the popcorn. That means twice over for the treble. Then come from the front around the back of the popcorn. So from the front to the back, then come out the other side. Grab your yarn and bring everything back to where you were, and then complete the treble. 1, 2, and 3. Front post treble around the popcorn. Then in the next 5 stitches, work a half double again. And this first one might be slightly hidden, that stitch there. So it's basically the 5 stitches that you worked here in the chain space. Work a half double on each of those. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now work a front post treble around the double treble you have here. So again, twice over, and now it's around the treble. So from front to back, around the back, grab your yarn, bring it all to where you started, and complete the front post treble. There you go. And now again 5 half doubles, one in every stitch of these 5 stitches you have here in the chain space. And this first one might again be slightly hidden by the stitch you just made. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And these 5 stitches are the same as these 5 stitches here. So everything you've done here, so these front post stitches and the half doubles, repeat that all the way round. So now I'm going to work a front post treble. I'll just show you twice over, and around the popcorn, 3, so that was around the popcorn, and now again 5 half doubles, and then a front post around the double treble. Will go all the way around, and when you're here at the end, remember the front post treble around this last treble here. You're going to be surprisingly how easy it's to forget that one, and then close on the first stitch with a slip stitch. So remember, front post treble around this last stitch, and only then work, if I just go here, a slip stitch in the standing stitch, close in there with a slip stitch, and then you can fasten off your yarn. Round 9, new color yarn, but this time we're going to start by attaching it with a slip stitch. Now, if you look at your work, you'll see these 5 half doubles that you have between the front post stitches. Of those 5 half doubles, take the center one, so the third one, so 1, 2, 3, it's the center one of them. And any one attached there with a slip stitch. Now we're going to start the repeat. Come to the front post stitch, and in that front post stitch work 3 doubles, chain 2 and 3 doubles. So yarn over, so here in the front post work 3 doubles, that's 1, 2, 3 doubles, and you'll just notice that slip stitch just opens up, so just pull your yarn tail a bit, and there it's nice and neat. So 3 doubles, chain 2 and 3 more doubles in the same stitch, and you're making a little shell. So that's 1, 2 and 3, and there's your little shell. Then come again to the 5 half doubles. You're going to skip 2 stitches, so that means 2 stitches that you're going to skip, and then come to the third stitch, and that's again going to be the center one of the 5. And close there with a slip stitch. And that just secures your shell. And this you're going to repeat all the way round. I'll show you the repeat again a second time. Then you're going to have, because you're going to be making quite a lot of these shells. Then come to the next treble, front post, and work 3 doubles. It's 1, 2, 3, chain 2, and again 3 doubles in that same stitch. So 1, 2, and 3. There you go. Again, skipping 2 stitches, so that's 1, 2, come to the center of these 5 half doubles and close with a slip stitch. So that was 2 shells. I'm going to repeat this all the way around, and after you've done your last shell, you're going to work the last shell in this front post stitch, close with a slip stitch here, and this will already contain the slip stitch. So this is the place where you started, that's also where you're going to finish. So I've worked 2 of these shells with you. You need to work 14 more, you'll have 16 in total, and then close with a slip stitch, and then you can also fasten off. Round 10. In round 10 we're going to be working popcorns in the chain 2 spaces of the shells, and we're going to be working trebles in between. It bears some resemblance to this popcorn round we've done before. And if you hear outside, you'll hear the birds going, just making a lot of racket. My apologies for that. I have my door open. Maybe I should close my door. But at this point we're going to be making popcorn stitches. The first one is a standing popcorn. That means yarn over, and in this chain space start with a standing double crochet. That's the first one, and then we work 4 more in that space. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can open up the loop, come to the first stitch, pick up the loop, pick up your yarn, pull your working yarn through the first stitch and chain 1 to close the popcorn. Now work chain 3, so that's 1, 2, 3. So again 1 chain for the popcorn and then a chain 3. And now we're going to work a treble here over this slip stitch into the stitch of round 8. So that means twice over for the treble, then into the stitch of round 8, covering the slip stitch. 1, 2, 3. Then again chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Chain and come to the next shell, and in that chain 2 space of the shell work a popcorn. And that's again going to be 5 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 doubles. Open up the loop, come to the first stitch, insert your hook in there, then pick up your working yarn and pull the loop through the first stitch and chain 1. And this popcorn is of course the same as that one, so this is your repeat that you're going to do all the way round. Just get you started on the next repeat. So again chain 3, 1, 2, 3, then a treble covering, so it's twice over, a treble in the stitch of round 8 which contains the slip stitch. So I'm going to cover that slip stitch with the treble 2, 3 times, then chain 3, then a popcorn, and I'll work the first of the 5 doubles. There you go. That's the first of 5 doubles. Now this is the repeat. Go all the way around. And here after you've done, on the last repeat, you'll of course work the popcorn in this shell, chain 3, then the treble, chain 3, and close on that first popcorn the same way we did those rounds before in the previous popcorn round. So again close on the popcorn with the slip stitch and fasten off. round 11. This round we're going to be working in the chain spaces, and we're going to be alternatingly working 5 and 4 half doubles in every space. Now it doesn't matter in which space you start. I'm just going to take this one and start in there with a standing half double. There you go. Now in this space make 4 more, or sorry, 3 more, and this one we're going to make 3. So that's 1, 2, 3, so that you have 4 half doubles in total. Now come to the next space, this one, and work 5 half doubles in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now in the next set, I'm going to work 4 half doubles in the next chain space. So 1, 2, 3, 4 half doubles, and then in the next space again work 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There you go. And this you're going to repeat all the way around. So it's 4 half doubles, 5 half doubles, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, until you're all the way around. And after you've worked your last set of 5 half doubles, close on the first stitch. It's going to be this standing half double here with the slip stitch, and also important, leave your yarn attached. When you've completed round 11, this is the point where you're at. We're now going to join the mandala to the ring. If you just look at the mandala right now, you'll notice it's a little wavy and it's a little wobbly. You've actually got too many stitches, so it won't be completely flat. But when we bring it into the ring, now this is a 20 centimeter ring, you'll see it's considerably smaller than the ring. It should be about roughly 18 centimeters at this point. So if you measure corner to corner, on this one I've even got 17 and a half, but 17 and a half, 18 centimeters, something like that. And then when we stretch it into the ring, this waviness will actually be to our advantage, because then it will fill the ring nicely. So it's really important that it is considerably smaller than the ring that you're mounting it in. If you're finding you're struggling with gauge and your mandala is much larger, consider going up to a larger ring, and perhaps then work an extra round of double crochets before joining it to the ring, because I suspect your next ring size will be 25 centimeters, and then your mandala will, it'll be quite a stretch from 20 to 25 centimeters. So then work an extra round of just double crochets, one in every stitch, and then join it to the ring. So that's maybe a good alternative then. And at this point, this is where you, in theory, should be, at about 18 centimeters, and now we're going to join to the ring. Before you do that, just a tip, work away your yarn tails to the back, because it's easier to do now when your fabric is still foldable than when it's in the ring. So work away all your yarn tails, and then we're going to spend the last round 12, joining to the ring. So I'm currently in this first standing stitch with a slip stitch. That's from round 11. Now for round 12, chain 1. This does not count as a stitch. Now we're going to work single crochets 2 togethers on the stitch where we're currently in, and on the next stitch, and over the ring. That's what we're going to do. Okay. So in the current stitch, so in the stitch where you're currently in, so where this is a stitch where the slip stitch is, insert your hook, go underneath the ring with your hook, so underneath, grab your yarn from the top, and bring it all forward. Then come to the next stitch, insert your hook, go underneath the ring, grab the yarn from the other side, and bring it forward. Now you've got 3 loops on your hook. Take them all off in one go. And that's the single crochet 2 together over the hoop. We're going to do that on all of these stitches. So in the current stitch, so this is the stitch where you just work that second loop. So in the current stitch, insert your hook, go underneath the ring, grab your yarn and bring it forward. And now come to the next stitch, underneath the hoop, grab your yarn, bring it forward, and all 3 loops, take them off. Then again the next, and now the next stitch, so again, which is a single crochet 2 together, worked in from the current position. So you're always going to start on the stitch where you're currently at, grab your yarn and bring it up, and only then go to your next stitch and take them off. By working these single crochets 2 togethers, you're going to cover the ring nicely, because you have just an extra loop on every stitch, and that just really covers the ring, because you don't want to see too much of the ring. And continue this process until you're all the way around. And then on your last stitch, just close with an invisible join. So go all the way around, and of course working away yarn tails on these hoops isn't easy, because these hoops are kind of in the way, but then you will have to work away just your last yarn tail. So continue, work a single crochet 2 together through the current stitch, the next stitch, and the hoop. There we go. So now I've worked a few of them. This is a time-consuming round, so I'm just going to work all of the others, because you've got 160 of these stitches to do. And what will happen is your mandala, you can already see it happening here. That is being stretched onto the ring. So join your mandala to the ring, and then fasten off with an invisible join on the last stitch, and work away your yarn tails. When you've worked away your last yarn tails, this is what your mandala looks like. Make your mandalas complete by making a set. So you can either make them in the same color combination but play with color placement. I have suggestions for color placement in the written pattern, or make them using different colors all together and make a set with different colors. Also for these color combinations you can find in the written pattern. Brings us to the end of this video. I want to thank you for watching and hope to see you again soon for a new project.